news, everyone. Steven Crowder is a piece of shit. Can confirm. And this is being made evident by him ousting himself, letting the world know that he's been going through a horrible, horrible divorce. And of course, he is the victim of the divorce because that's kind of the only thing in his playbook that he knows how to use. Just like many conservatives, they are the victims. And in this case, not only is Steven Crowder the renowned content creator on the far right, known racist, not only is he the victim of his wife who chose to leave him, but he's also the victim of the state of Texas, which allows women to divorce their husbands when they are potentially abusive. There is some potentially damning footage of him acting very suspiciously. Now, as far as I know, there's no evidence of physical abuse, but it certainly seems to me as though there is evidence of psychological abuse. It's a wonderful day in the homiehood, a wonderful day for a homie. Won't you be my homie to Taro?
I have been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going.
Really? What, like, already he's living with a proverbial boot on his neck. This is somebody who was accusing George Floyd of like dying of intoxication and not because of the knee on his neck. Like, what a disgusting metaphor to use for his situation where he's simply going through a divorce, probably because he's annoying as fuck to be around.
On years now. Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side.
It's interesting he says physical abuse.
And no, this was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas,
your wife left you.
That is completely permitted. It's been
Okay, so he says there, in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted, that your wife is allowed to leave you. A huge indication of the type of man that Steven Crowder is. I feel like if anyone you know has that mentality, you should get as far away as possible from them immediately. Yeah, how terrible that a woman can leave of her own free will. Yeah, for real. And I think this is also one of the indications that, you know, it's not just a trans panic. It's also a panic against gay folks, lesbian folks. It's a panic against women. And it once you start feeding into that, hey, oh my God, we need to start taking these people's rights away, it will continue. It will always continue. And you can tell that he wants to take that right away from women to be able to leave their spouses. That's crazy. These are the people who yell freedom.
Been the most heartbreaking experience of my life, what I consider to be my deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed. I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible.
So divorce is and can be horrible. But however, the most important thing actually about a family unit is to have two parents. It doesn't necessarily have to be a man and a woman, a mom or a dad. In some cases, it can be two moms and two dads. But, you know, if you really cared about the well-being of children, you might take on that framing. But this is obviously the Republican framing of women should have no freedom and belong in the household and should just be mothers and caretakers, and men should go out and work. And like, this is this old traditional view of what a family unit is supposed to look like.
And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible.
Family values.
But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter.
You're goddamn right they don't. Like, imagine living in Texas. It's like one of the most conservative places like on the planet. He's got a gun on his desk, for Christ's sake. I don't know if you can see it here, but yeah, there's a gun on his desk on the far right there. Like, you imagine being too conservative for Texas.
In Texas, divorce is permitted when one party wants it, period.
Wow. I can't believe Texas has gone woke like this.
So for well over a year, in the best interest as well as physical safety of my children, we've decided to keep this issue private and to resolve it privately with the appropriate attorneys, what have you, legal jargon. And all this, one thing I want to be really clear about is certain. True north here is that my children are blameless.
Well, yeah, obviously. When one parent is a narcissist like this guy, divorce is okay. Absolutely. Like, I love how he's like, don't blame my children. Who was who was blaming your children? Like, yeah, like, have you not seen them? Like, are you talking to them right now? Is this the only way you communicate with your children? Who are the people saying that your children are deserving of blame?
Completely without fault. And so we decided to resolve these issues privately, as it's in their best interests, both emotionally and physically, to do so.
Man, imagine Steven Crowder was your dad. You would definitely get bullied at school. Like, you'd probably just like bully yourself.
Now, the other issue is, and this is something that I've kept private for likely far too long, many other people knew about this behind the scenes. Some, not all, but some of them in positions of power, influence, leverage, knew of this.
What is he trying to say here? Biden knew. Biden knew, and he's been using this against Louder with Crowder.
They also knew that the safety of my children included keeping it private. So if you're familiar...
So I don't really understand the direct link between keeping it private and the safety of his children. If that is also so imperative, why is he the one telling us right now? I guess maybe he knew that it was going to get out soon regardless. Because, yeah, it is kind of strange on this episode that is supposed to be about Tucker Carlson. You're going to get a lot of views on an episode like this if you're a right-wing pundit. But he took the time at the very beginning of the episode to address this. So he must have known it was coming out.
With the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well.
So he's accusing someone of distortion.
Now, some of
extortion
these
here.
Threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Steven has a lot going on.
So wait. What is the extortion? That like, hey, I'm going to tell people that you're divorced? Like, what? That's usually public knowledge that people get divorced. Like, man, I honestly get the feeling that he's like just not dealing with it very well. You know, it's almost that his whole alpha male shtick is actually just a veiled representation of fragile masculinity, and he's really not taking the divorce well.
I guess is the best way to say it. He has a lot going on, and that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's not a lot going on in their lives. I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him. Sometimes people need a prayer. Sometimes people need a scripture. You know, Steven purports to be a Christian. I am unsure.
Okay, wait. Candace Owens, obviously another awful person, but this is how conservatives make fun of each other. They're like, I'm praying for you. You know, it's like, oh, please don't. Like, the last thing you want in your life is a conservative praying for you. That's like a death sentence.
Sure, at this moment, if it is my place to say more than that. You know, maybe if I feel in further defense, some things should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
I don't understand why he's like giving her more clout. He's like, I was being blackmailed. And then he shows the exact video of her like actually being really mean to him. He's like, and it's like, yeah, bro, she's kind of like fucking with you pretty hard, and thanks for showing us. Yeah.
Oh, my children have a right to privacy. Now, some other
their dad's a public figure. Like like those poor kids.
Issues have been, or I should say, inferences have been more pernicious behind the scenes with demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time that it could be used, knowingly putting my children in harm's way. So
Most people are usually pretty honest with like people about their divorce, right? Why didn't you just say this like 2 years ago? Then nobody could use it against you. Like, hey, I'm going through a divorce. Everyone would be like, yeah, it makes sense because you're a piece of shit, you know? But like also, yeah, like that is a normal thing that like a lot of people go through.
So to those self-styled Christians, conservatives, and allies, well, not in my book. Now, if you find yourself...
Oh, I guess because he does the whole like family values, like good Christian boy thing. That's why he didn't want it to get out?
I don't want to...
That's why it's not making sense to me. I would never think like that. Like, oh no, what will God think if I get a divorce?
Get into details, so this is going to likely be the only time I have to address this or want to address this. If you're asking yourself, hey, did X person or did Y person know? The answer is likely yes, which will be made alarmingly clear as this process of discovery continues.
Like, I love how he's like, everybody knew. Think of 5 people in your head right now. Anyone on the whole planet. If you think that they might have known, they knew. Everybody knew.
And it also, by the way, makes me that much more appreciative of those who did know about this and in understanding the best interests of my family, my children, kept their word and used discretion.
It's such a cowardice thing to be like hiding behind his kids like this. Like, what is he talking about? How does this information hurt your children? They obviously knew that you're going through a divorce. What more can you do? Like, how does them knowing about this or like knowing that other people know, how does this affect your children? That seems like actually it would help move the process along.
I can't thank you enough. Sincerely, I appreciate it. Won't forget it. It's pretty simple. I loved a woman so much that I married her. A woman.
Wow, gay.
Who, despite all of this, I still love as the mother of my children. And she wanted something else for her life.
Good for her. It's kids at school. Once they find out, it could affect the kids. Yeah, but like they're gonna find out. You know, like I guess sure, what, kids make fun of each other for like going through divorces, like their parents splitting up. I don't know. I just feel like there's no guarantee that you as a public figure are not going to cause your kids harm by simply being a gigantic public figure, you know? He's got 1.3 million followers on Rumble. And so I don't even know how many he has or had on YouTube. Like it's your responsibility as a parent to prepare your kids for how your public life is going to affect them in their lives as well. You know, like what is he going to do? Protect them forever? They probably also go to a rich, fancy ass private school where like all the kids' dads are divorced because they're pieces of shit.
That's not my choice. She simply wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now, of course,
the law. Yeah.
Look, I get it. There are multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong, and that's certainly not the fault of my children.
Wow. He's really bitter. He says he picked wrong. Like he picked the wrong woman? That's a really low thing to say. That's actually really embarrassing for him. Like, you can tell that he's like a broken man, you know, which is funny because he's got a gun on his desk and he like wears gun holster. Like he's trying to like emulate alpha masculinity, but you can tell here he's just like big cuck energy.
And I will say that what's in the best interest of my children is not internet drama, speculation, Certainly not blatant or veiled shakedowns or dragging their father or mother, and I can't be clear on that enough, or their mother through the mud. And to anyone who tries it, I'm no longer going to pacify, capitulate, or sidestep because I love them a whole lot more than I love you.
Drama. What's up, Drama Llama Panorama?
And I will continue to do whatever is necessary to protect my children. Discussing the divorce any further on social media or on this show or in any public space is not what's best for them. I'll be handling this through the proper legal avenues and channels available as a matter of record in which I have more than full confidence.
I don't think you could prove in court that like somebody knew that I was going through a divorce and they made veiled statements that but never said anything actually to reveal what was going on. They made veiled statements that didn't reveal anything, and I'm going to take them to court. This just like he definitely doesn't have a case.
So I'd ask that you understand the need for and respect our privacy in what is obviously a pretty tough time.
This honestly too, this is just really bad strategy. Really bad strategy of being like, you know, my feelings are really hurt, and all I ask is that you protect my privacy. Like, do you know how the internet works, bro? You obviously do, because you're very successful on the internet. But like telling everyone not to make fun of you for this is kind of like opening the floodgates for people to make fun of you all got the goddamn over. So apparently there's more.
Familiar with the idea of extortion?
Oh wait, we saw this already. Okay, wait. Oh, okay, wait. This is Candace's show? Okay. Let's watch. What did I do? Refresh. So this is from the Surfs, who loves covering stuff like this. They're like all over the right-wing drama, so they know all about it. If you thought the Steven Crowder story couldn't get any stranger, Candace Owens reveals that he was dropping into her Instagram replies, "There's something about me you're hyper-focused on." She's now inviting his ex-wife to come on her show and set the record straight. This would honestly make great television. Like this, you know, can we just take a moment and say rest in peace to Jerry Springer, who would have loved having this drama aired out on his show, you know? Jerry.
Familiar with the idea of extortion? Then you know the feeling well.
Although it would really only work if his wife was like pregnant again. Like it's only Jerry Springer when like there's like pregnant people fighting on stage.
Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Things should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
Right to privacy.
Wait, let's just get to the Candace Owens part here.
Oh, my children have a right to privacy.
I mean, that's it's like you're a gigantic social media figure. You want your kids to have privacy, then like you could just quit.
He even sent me a retrospectively very flirty message thereafter on Instagram about how nice I looked on election night, even though I didn't respond to it. Hillary
Candace Owens is so mean. I feel like she could like bully anyone into submission.
Crowder's Instagram account, and I looked to see, and it turned out that she didn't follow Steven Crowder and that Steven Crowder didn't follow her. He didn't follow anybody in her family, and she wasn't following anybody in his family. That was my aha moment. Clearly, there was some sort of a separation.
This is like some high school bullshit. You know, like who would be looking at that? I don't know. Maybe I just don't care enough to like see who's following who. Like, ooh, so-and-so's partner unfollowed them and then like re-followed them or something. It's like, who's looking at this?
Now, I will not take that lightly, okay? I am not Hillary Crowder. I am not anybody in his family. I am not going to take somebody going onto his platform and alleging that I either harassed, threatened, or did anything that would put his children at risk. That is very serious stuff that he is saying. And so what I did this morning after this clip was sent to me is I contacted a defamation lawyer, and I am sending Steven Crowder a cease and desist, and I'm going to demand.
See, she's mean. I feel like Candace Owen is like the one person you really just like don't want to fuck with. Like, look what she did to Kanye. She like destroyed Kanye.
A full-throated retraction to the idea that Candace Owens threatened him or extorted him. And not, it seems to me, Steven.
That is true. Like there's no evidence of that. And really she like there's really nothing that she did that I could think would be considered extortion. So really, Steven Crowder should not have specifically said that. He should have known better. She's mean, but she comes across as entirely justified in the whole clip. Yeah, for sure. Like, I guess like I'm not really on any of their teams here, but like, yeah, she's obviously right in this case, despite being wrong like 99% of the time.
Been that you really, for whatever reason, want to insert me into this narrative. Like, there is just something about me that you are hyper focused on. And
I mean, he is a racist.
so I want to help you a bit. And really,
and a misogynist.
I want to help your wife because you essentially just used your platform. Millions of people have access to your platform. She doesn't have the same.
I can't believe the leopards are eating my face. The face-eating leopards, they're eating my face.
To insult her. You picked the wrong woman, okay? So here's what I would like to do. I would like to invite Hillary Crowder onto my platform because she doesn't have one and because her ex-husband apparently just used his to insult her, to say that he picked the wrong woman. I find that to be really despicable. So Hillary Crowder, if you are watching, you are more than welcome to come on my show and to talk about what's actually going on.
Oh yeah, this is like this ridiculous. Okay, so the last thing here, in recent days, this is kind of the latest development in the story as far as I know. I guess they have one of these Ring cameras at Steven Crowder's house, and there's a video here. Let's see, a 3-minute video of Steven Crowder emotionally abusing his wife. So trigger warning, obviously domestic abuse, emotional abuse. So in this statement, Hillary Crowder's family says she hid his emotionally abusive behavior for years. So the whole Steven Crowder playing the victim thing, saying he's the victim of his wife who left him, and you know, it's bad for his children, it's bad for the state of Texas. You know, why not just take a little bit of responsibility for yourself since you're an abusive piece of shit?
I drew a boundary. I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary at abusive and cruel.
He drew a boundary at abusive and cruel. So again, he thinks he's the one being abused.
You are not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
So I've heard about this video. I've heard people saying that they only have one car. Now, if you've ever known a family whose backyard looks like this, they usually got more than one car in those families.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. Like, these are a few of my favorite things. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, ba-da. What is he even talking about? So why would somebody of this stature only have one car in their family? As this person pointed out, Sleepy Socialist on Twitter, I see a lot of people asking why Steven Crowder would only have one car for him and his wife when he has millions to buy another. Yeah. And not only that, but like, you could Uber. It's very much intentional. It's abuse. Isolating and making your partner completely dependent on you is a very common abuse tactic. And I can't help but think, after reading that tweet, like, that's probably what's going on here.
I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the men? Yes.
How do you respect the men? What?
I'm a man. I'm a man.
I'm a man. The other man you see? The mother comes back. Wait, what?
See, the mother comes back. No. How do the man? No, you're not taking the bus.
Steven,
You're not taking the car.
Steven,
You are not
then
taking
I
the
will
car.
ask someone to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not a threat, Steven.
What is that, a threat? Oh my god. Like he's literally fragile. Like he's the most fragile being I've ever seen. He's like, I'll call someone to pick me up so I can go grocery shopping if you're not going to let me take the car. And he's like, is that a threat? Bro. Small dick energy.
Get an Uber.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go. Listen to me. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take.
Yeah, that is the other thing too. She's like so pregnant. Yeah, apparently she's like 8 months pregnant in this. And yeah. Just to like let you know how much of a piece of shit he is. She's also 8 months pregnant during this. Like this is how he's acting at this point in his life. He literally said here too. What did he say? Oh wait, did I skip ahead? God damn it. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents.
Go to my parents. I can't call my
friends. Why? Why? Bro, you're like, you got millions of dollars. Like, take a cab, take an Uber, call a friend. I don't understand why he can't call his friends. I can't be home. He can't be anything.
friends. I can't be
He can't be out. He can't be home. What? Like, why?
home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need?
Think of how boxed in you've made me. So this is just like pathetic behavior, you know? Like he's in a glass cage of his own emotions, you know?
I need to pick up. I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
See,
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Steven,
And making it work when you do that.
Man, he's a piece of shit. He's also, I'm not sure if you can tell, but he's also smoking a cigar during this time as well, in front of his 8 months pregnant wife.
The only way out of this is discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
we are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline or respect.
Steven,
There you go. You throw your hand, you give up.
Discipline and respect. That's really gross.
So easily.
I don't give up, Steven.
Hillary,
Steven?
you give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Steven, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Steven, your abuse is sick. Your abuse.
So here she's directly calling it abuse as well and letting him know that it's abuse.
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it. Fucking watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get.
And then he's just like, watch it. Like, look at the dog. The dog turned and was like, is he talking to me? Why is he talking to his wife like a dog?
What you need me to get. And I need some space. We need to just stop engaging for a little bit, okay? I love you.
She's also being completely reasonable. I mean, she's saying, I love you. I'm sure in the back of her head, she's plotting her escape already. Like, this is disgusting. No, who would want to stick around for this?
I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem.
What?
I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, you just be disciplined about it. You go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is a very toxic idea of what like a relationship is supposed to be like. The male head of the household way. Yeah, for real. I hope she's doing okay though. We have to remember that she's not a public figure and she may not have been aware that the conversation was being recorded. Yeah, this is yeah, if you love me, obey me. Yeah, it's super fucked up. DNA Rig, this is Steven Crowder talking to his 8 months pregnant wife and being emotionally abusive. Yeah, it's really gross.
That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right in past. Become someone, listen to me, day in and day out, worthy of a wife. No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. I said as a wife. Hillary?
He said what? Become wife worthy? Oh man, there's just so much gross language. Like, it's one thing, like, obviously he's a horrible person, right? Like, you have to be a special kind of horrible person to be a right-wing talking head. But then, like, to see, part of me even just always wondered, like, is he just saying this stupid shit for the money? You know? But now it's like, oh, wait, he's like actually a horrible person. Like, he's the culture war discourse is happening inside the home as well.
Hillary, come on now.
I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage anymore. I'm going to go. I'll get text me what you need.
He's fighting a culture war against his own wife,
Get you
ex-wife. I guess he lost.
I love you. I'm committed to you.
Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not going to.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to you. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
Jesus. I can't imagine telling your 8 months wife partner to walk the dog.
Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm going to just
Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs take? No, you take that in.
As the Crowders head inside, Stephen gets angrier and angrier, and by his own admission screams, "I will fuck you up," at his pregnant wife, Hillary, who then flees their home. Okay. Geez, that ending was like, to find out what happens next time on Steven Crowder being a piece of shit. You know, tune in next week. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, that is like horrifying example of abuse. I get the sense that also like this is something that has been leaked by his wife. I don't know. That is just my guess. I don't know why this has leaked, but it seems like something that might have come out during the divorce process. Because, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know who else would even have access to footage like that, right? It's obviously, it's either him or her releasing this footage. So this might have been evidence during the divorce case that he is emotionally abusive. So, in a statement sent to me by Hillary Crowder's family, they say that she spent years hiding her husband's mental health and emotional abuse from her family, that he lied about the circumstances around their divorce, and that he wasn't present for the birth of their children. Documentary evidence I reviewed while reporting the story backs up their assertions. The statement in its entirety is printed later on in the story. The Ring camera footage documenting the moments leading up to the moment where Steven said, "I will fuck you up." That so, it sounds like there's definitely emotional abuse. There's definitely the threat of physical violence. That's the one thing that seems missing, but also almost inevitable as a result of this existing behavior is that there would be physical violence. Something that was the pinnacle of aggressiveness in their marriage, but was also part of a pattern of emotional abuse, is posted in full at the top of this post. Okay. We've watched that. So I don't know. This person has access to some of the information as a result of their divorce trial. I don't know. In the past 2 weeks, rumors of their divorce, which the press had not discovered for over a year, began to spread. Crowder bemoaned, okay, we've probably watched this. It's interesting to me that his partner's name is Hillary. Like Like a blonde woman named Hillary is the subject of his frustration. That's an example of a ton of patriarchal homes. Others will watch it and not see any problem. In fact, they will defend the dysfunction. Oh, I'm sure people in Steven Crowder's camp will defend his shitty behavior because they're also abusive, misogynistic pieces of shit. On April 22nd, 2022, Crowder was talking on his show about his distaste for no-fault divorce. He said, if you're a woman that comes from meager means and you want to get wealthy, you've never worked, you didn't get a degree, you have no skill set, but you're good looking, your best path to victory is simply to marry a man, leave him, and take half. Yikes. So obviously he was projecting a lot about what was going on in his life during the show as well. I think the real thing to talk about here too is that Steven Crowder's brand of masculinity is not actually doing anyone any service. You know, like it's not a good thing to emulate. It's actually the opposite of masculinity. It's like super fragile masculinity. And the people who get sucked into this pipeline, Steven Crowder, Andrew Tate, whatever, the manosphere pipeline, begin to emulate that behavior. They don't really find success. People don't stick around in your life for behavior like that. Trying to hold power over other people is not something people have time for in their life. You know, like if you want to be a good man, a good partner, then like you have to understand that like that's a scam. That's a scam. You shouldn't fall for that. The vulnerability of a woman that is pregnant is so scared. He is an absolute monster. She likely stayed calm for the baby. Yeah, that emotional trauma during pregnancy as well, it will affect the child probably for the rest of their lives. Really important to have a stable, functioning relationship. Even just the feeling of love going on in the mother's body during that time is going to be good for the child's development. You know, undergoing emotional trauma like that, it's not going to be good for the child. It's sad because a lot of these women have been groomed to be these kinds of wives. That is true. If you grow up in like a fundamentalist religious community or family, then yeah, you kind of are groomed into being that type of like submissive good wife stereotype, and it will affect her labor. Yeah. You know, you want to talk about grooming, right? Like they try to groom women to be submissive wives, and they want to exert their power over their own family and the people that they love. It's really fucking gross. You know, that's not love. They don't know they are being abused. Yeah, I mean, luckily in this case, like she was able to get out. You know, like hope this Steven Crowder does not deserve to see his children. Like he's like literally abusive. And I hope this actually does pull the curtain back on Steven Crowder and people who are projecting this alpha male masculinity, because in the end, you know, like it actually is the opposite. You try to project alpha male energy, you actually just end up looking like a bitch. Let's be real. Like women do not actually respond to that type of behavior. You know, that nobody likes that. Think about even what you would like in your own life. Do you want to be like exercising your own free will, or do you want to be at the behest of like a partner, somebody who's controlling, and like no matter what you do, you just want to go out to the store, take the car and get groceries, and like since that's not what your partner wants you to do in that exact moment, you're not allowed to do it. It's disgusting. You shouldn't have to control the person that you love. Love should come from a place of like free will as well. Isn't it much nicer when the person like you want to love you actually just like loves you of their own free will? So yeah, don't get sucked. Don't get sucked into this manosphere bullshit. You know, it actually is more of an example of fragile masculinity than anything else. Why not make sure you don't miss the next video by liking, commenting, subscribing, and ringing the bell? Thank you so much for watching. It's my homie 2 Taro. Peace.